In 1957, between 23rd of May and 26th of June, a group of Nigerians gathered in Lancaster House in London. 95 delegates attended the Second Nigerian Constitutional Conference. This conference gave Nigerians the opportunity to make a decision about their future. Nigerians were represented by our regional leaders and government representatives. Although this meeting was to discuss the transition from colonial rule to internal self-government, we had the opportunity to include laws in our constitution that would shape our future. It was on this basis that Chief Obafemi Awolowo took a whole day to present his argument on why Nigeria should include a secession clause in our constitution. You see, during that period, the regional leader of northern Nigeria, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was threatening to secede from Nigeria. In fact, the Northern House of Assembly in March and April 1953 passed a resolution that the North should take steps to secede from Nigeria. This was because the Southeast and the Southwest regions of Nigeria were pushing for independence in 1956, and the North was not ready because it was less prepared for self-government, politically outnumbered by the South, and how the Northern representatives were humiliated and disrespected in Lagos. So, during the 1957 Constitutional Review in London, Chief Awolowo saw a need to include a secession clause in the Nigerian Constitution. He probably envisioned that a time will come in future when a certain part of Nigeria will want it. He gave examples of how other countries included such clauses in their constitution. The Northern People's Congress, NPC, supported Chief Awolowo and his Action Group Party on that motion. The following day, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was the Premier of Eastern Nigeria, took the stage to argue against including the clause in our constitution. This was one of the reasons he was well known as a nationalist and a patriot. In fact, he said that once we have a federation, we are indivisible and perpetual. This means we are together forever and ever. He also added that to secede would amount to treason. So the question was now whether we should have secession or not. According to Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the Colonial Office came to their rescue. The British Secretary of State for the Colonies rejected the motion because secession clause will make the federation unstable. Nigeria was fragile and the British needed a viable and coherent state to hand over power to. This was how the clause was not included in our constitution, and treason became punishment for trying to divide Nigeria. Some people believe that if all the regions had accepted to include secession in our constitution, the British colonial government would have accepted it. But because there was an opposition to it, the motion was rejected. Surprisingly, there have been two major calls for secession in Nigeria from the southeastern part. The first was by Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Ojukwu in 1967, and the second by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was recently persecuted and convicted to life imprisonment by the Federal High Court in Abuja. While this may seem as an outright disregard for the Constitution, it also raises concerns about the underlying causes and what needs to be done to address them. When Sir Ahmadu Bello and the Northern House of Representatives passed a resolution to secede from Nigeria, certain conditions were given to resolve it. If those concerns were not resolved, they would have gone ahead to secede. The colonial administration met those conditions. For each call for secession, it is important for the agitators to do the same. They should do so within the ambit of the law. They should list their grievances and be open to dialogue. It is also important for the government, both the state government and the federal government, to listen, negotiate, and act on it instead of only treating it as a criminal offense. Bye, guys.